Hello everyone, welcome to Picko's Pitwalk, the Saturday edition post-race for the first London E-Prix. So today we are actually starting in the pit lane. We are going to start with Neo. It was a kind of mad day for them. It didn't help this morning that Tictum had a crash 10 minutes before the end of P2 at the turn 6, 7, 8 complex. But that was easily fixed. If you head onto our Twitter, you'll actually be able to see me do a report here in front of the crash-strewn car. So go onto our Twitter, follow us there. Basically he locked up going into turn 6, and then his car just broke from there. And in the end, his car wasn't optimised for qualifying. He was 11th in his group. The team finished 15th and 17th. Another just average day for Neo, unfortunately. And I'll be honest, I think most of them are breathing a sigh of relief that this team didn't do what could have happened today, which was finish P5 or P6 for Sergio Setticamera after a fantastic qualifying where he finished P4 in that Giovinazzi actually didn't get to do a second run in qualifying because he hit the wall on his first lap, which was a shame. What was more of a shame was Setticamera was in the points all the time up until half a lap to go, where he ran out of power. That's literally the long and short of it, unfortunately. They were basically doing this race blind today. They didn't have the energy management numbers system working or whatever. Watch our Setticamera interview. He explains that. They were basically running blind. They didn't know that he was going to run out of power, and the car just shut off with half a lap to go. He was speaking to Lucas Di Grassi just before I interviewed him, and basically they were saying, I didn't know that I could have cruised around, because he had 7 seconds on Lucas going into that final lap. But disappointing, but they can try again tomorrow, hopefully, and fingers crossed, because I want to see them on the points board, just so we have all the teams on the points board. Would be quite nice. We can go from there. So and then Nissan, great day for Max Günther. It was his first duel after Lucas Di Grassi got his times deleted in group qualifying. We will head more into that later. He qualified P6. He finished P8. He was on course for P6, but he too ran out of power. But thankfully, he ran out of power just coming around the final corner back there, and he was able to go to the line, finish in P8. So more points for him. It hasn't been the season that Max Günther really wanted, so that's good for him. Seb Buemi, I think, may have. He was on the verge of getting points towards the end. I think he also got a 5-second penalty for something. I'm not 100% sure. It's not in my notes. Max Günther found the track really enjoyable to drive. He really likes this high grip surface inside, and Mahindra. Roland unfortunately hit the wall at turn 8. That was the cause of his retirement. They didn't have the best of qualifying. I think they were only 16th and 17th. Focus on Dillbag, weren't you, Jack? However, this team have traditionally been better on day 2 of the double headers. We saw that last time out in New York with Simsy. They finished P4. So I think that there's hope for these guys tomorrow that they can get more points. And they need it, especially after more points for Nissan today, and they're locked in this duel, which really kind of yo-yos, because in New York, Nissan did well on day 1, Mahindra did well on day 2. Today, Mahindra have done well on... No, Nissan did well on day 1, so Mahindra need to do well tomorrow to make sure that they are they continue in this hunt for, well, it's basically the battle for 8th in the championship. Porsche. And after I said, oh, these guys are fantastic at qualifying, and they did keep up that record. Andre Lostra did get into the qualifying duels today. So yeah, but Pascal Wehrlein, there was just no pace for him. He said to us today in qualifying. Qualifying is everything this weekend. So yeah, he did get a point out of today, so that's good. He breaks that. He goes 1 point ahead of his teammate because they were locked on points coming into this weekend. So that's lovely stuff from Pascal Wehrlein. But yeah. I think they were expecting a little bit more this weekend, and so they're going to have to see if they can do anything better tomorrow. I'm not sure if you can just see in there, Jack, but I think Oliver Turvey is speaking to... Is that his old teammate, Tom Blomqvist? It might be. Jack's having a wonder. I'm not sure what the range is, but I can see Oliver Turvey. I think he's having a word with his old Neo teammate, Tom Blomqvist there. So there we go. That's a nice little thing. We're now actually underneath. This is where the cars come through when they win the race. So Jake came through here today, and so did the 2 Mercedes. So nice little wander. I hope you enjoyed that. I mean, like Ted always goes for wonders on his thing, and that's what we compare ourselves to. So Ventura, at least they got 2 points. I'm really not sure what to say about these guys. I think it was very unfair for Lucas to be disqualified from qualifying today. Usually for blocking, we see like, oh, it'll be like a 3-place penalty, something like that. But he got his times deleted from qualifying, and Lucas was furious about this, and unfortunately we were trying to speak to him. However, Lucas always gives out lovely long interviews, which we love him for, but it did mean that we didn't get the chance to speak to him today, which is unfortunate. But he wanted to he wanted to prove with data that he didn't do anything wrong, and apparently Mitch, in that mini sector where apparently he held up, where Lucas held Mitch up, Mitch apparently went 8 thousandths purple, which is interesting. So yeah, I think it was very, very harsh for him to get the 3-place penalty for that. Edo Mortara, he started 9th, which we thought would be okay, but then he got caught up in that melee, which involved the other 2 championship contenders, Edo Mortara and Mitch Evans. Samba was also involved, and that was the cause of his retirement. We'll get onto that shortly. But it meant that Edo was basically 1 lap down. He couldn't really do much from there, and that was that, unfortunately. So we go from one team of woe to Avalanche Andretti, who have had the best day. Jake Dennis, 12 months on from his race win here in London, has taken another race win from pole position, just like last year. So fantastic day for him. Not just the win, but also a 5th place for Oliver Askew. Yeah, Jake was on fire today. He topped FP2. He was quickest in his qualifying group. He set the quickest time in the first, second and third stage of the duels, which meant that he got pole position. Led every lap. I mean, we don't use perfection lightly, but I think that really is the perfect day. I can't think of anyone who's had a more perfect day, and especially in this series where it's so competitive, to have a day like that, that's amazing. It's a shame he's out of the championship contention, but it means that tomorrow he could just go and do the exact same again if he really wants to. Oliver Askew finished 5th today. Fantastic from him. It means that he vaults up in the championship as well. he loved this high grip surface that we have here on the inside of the circuit in London, and yeah, no, he just really enjoyed the circuit in general, and so yeah, fantastic for Oliver. 10 more points to add to. I think he only had like 2 or 3 points coming into this race. Right, Envision. Freins was there or thereabout. He was like 8th, 9th as Darude Sandstorm starts playing tune. He was 8th, 9th for a short period of time, but started falling back throughout the race. Got a 5-second penalty for the I think it was overly defending on Lotterer. I think that was what the penalty was for. And then but he was falling through the field anyway, so he finished 16th in the end. It wasn't a great day for him. Nick Cassidy, he is really on fire. Obviously, we had the 2 New York races where he was exceptionally fast. He said that he wanted more out of the duels. He said that he could have got more, but even then, still starting 7th, it meant that he was that he was in a good position, and he went forward. He got past Gunter in the first attack mode. In the second attack mode, he got past Askew and Seti Camera, and then he went after Nick De Vries. Now, when I spoke to Nick Cassidy earlier, he was not too impressed with Nick's defending, and basically I said, do you think Nick should be with the stewards? And he said, I think you know what the answer is to that. So yeah, I think that's very bold from Nick to tell me that. I mean, of all people. So we move on to DS Cheetah. I have not many good things to say about them today, unfortunately. Where was the pace in qualifying? These guys are the kings of qualifying. John O'Verne, he holds the most pole positions in Formula E, but they were absolutely nowhere. They started, I think, 11th and 13th. Da Costa, he was able to finish P7, got 6 points, but Jev, absolutely nowhere. He had no pace of quality, and he said that there was lots of work to do. However, that 6 points for Da Costa means that Techeetah move into second in the Teams Championship, because Venturi only got 2 points. They are now 37 points behind the leaders down there, but we'll speak about them later on. So lots of work for DS Cheetah to do overnight. We have seen people go from bad day 1 to a better day 2, so there's always that tomorrow. Jag, and dreadful qualifying for Mitch Evans for his standards. He was PA in his group of qualifying, but I think he got elevated because of the Degrassi penalisation. But Mitch was able to recover to a 6th place finish, which means that he now moves into second in the Drivers' Championship, admittedly 26 points behind Stoff van Dorn, but is second in the championship, so 6 to 1, half dozen of the other. We know that this car is better in the race than it is in qualifying, and Mitch actually agreed with me on that, so that's good. Mitch made a mistake on his second lap in group qualifying, but he is there is things to work on for tomorrow to potentially improve that, and then he was happy to get through the field and cleanly. Yes, he was involved in that turn 2 kerfuffle with his teammate and the 2 other championship contenders, Mortara and Verne, but at least he got 6th place out of it. So I guess all day. Sam, his home race record has been dreadful ever since we moved here, really. He had 2 DNFs last year when he was leading the championship coming into this round, and then went from there. Which all means that I think I'm rather confident at saying Stoffel van Dorn match point. I think this is now his championship. He's got a 26-point gap at the top of the table, 37 point for the teams. I think this is as good as done, because if you remember here last year, it was the 2 second places that Nick de Vries got here, which basically sealed the championship for Nick. Stoff's done half of that, and he has a huge lead now. It's more than a race win. He needs a race win and a fastest. Mitch needs a race win and a fastest lap, and Van Dorn to score nothing to go level. So, I'm not tempting fate, but yeah, these guys basically have got it in the bag. Good day for Nick de Vries though as well. He finished 3rd place, which means that Mercedes have such a gap at the top of the table. Interesting that he hit the wall in the middle of T18 in the middle of the race, so that's the left-hander before the chicane, before you go back up the ramp into the building. And he also had a puncture on the grid, which was interesting, but yeah, they were able to sort that, and yeah, P2 and P3 for the champions-elect, I'm cautious to say. And that is the end of the pit lane. I have waffled on for long enough. We will be back again tomorrow. Check out the FEZ show if you haven't already. That goes into more detail. It's got all the driver interviews as well. Check out the driver interviews that are also on our channel. We've got more content coming tomorrow, and we will see you then. Goodbye.